Hey guys and everybody, sorry I've been away for so long, but I've been kind of a busy last year or so. So I thought I'd get back into putting out some additional information that's come to benefit me. Wanted to further address the subject of instinctive archery. This is a subject or a concept, if you will, that has been covered many times over by many of the greats out in the archery world, YouTube. Wolfie Instinctive Archer, Gray Archer. Not so much talked about, but definitely demonstrated by Jeff Kavanaugh up in Canada. I mean, the guy's just incredible, and so on and so forth. A lot of techniques and ideas about how to do it by those guys, and I don't want to rehash that. I'll leave it with them. I learned a lot from watching those guys. You guys can too. What I wanted to come at you guys with is this. I've seen in recent conversations, which kind of spurred this, many conversations where the concept of instinctive archery was relegated to that of a myth. It's not reality. People don't really do that. They just, or you know, some people think it's a delusion. So is it fact or fiction? Well, I would submit wholeheartely that it's fact. I've been shooting archery for many years, and I've been doing so instinctively, with an instinctive style. I'm also a career 24-year law enforcement veteran and a firearms instructor, and I sometimes would teach instinctive shooting with a handgun, where we shoot from the hip, if you will, without the benefit of sights and so forth. And it's instinctive, if you will. And it's very much a reality. Just as it's a reality for the outfielder in a baseball game who intercepts a ball that goes into the outfield, got a runner going for home base, and he's got to get it to the catcher. He doesn't know the exact yardage. He doesn't know what the wind is doing specifically. He just throws it instinctively, and he puts the right angle on it, the right power, and he gets it there. So just as that's instinctive throwing, so instinctive shooting, whether it be with a firearm or even a bow and arrow, is very much a reality. What I find is the reason people tend to doubt things is because they don't understand it, and maybe they don't have faith. So despite all the greats out there, Wolfie, Gray, all the rest of them saying it does work, it does happen, people just won't buy into it because they don't understand it, which is typical of human behavior. We always want to be able to explain things away, and if we can't explain it, then it must be a myth or wrong or untrue. So what I wanted to do is come at you guys with some additional insight into instinctive archery and how it works. Break off. A lot of people who argue against instinctive archery will say, well, you've got to be aiming in some way, fashion, or form. And that is actually true, but what they don't understand is we are aiming instinctively. And so what I'm going to try and do is bank on my firearms training experience, a lot of the psychology training that I've had and classes that I've had, delving into the human mind, the way the human mind works, to explain or try and give you another insight into how instinctive archery actually works. First off, instinctive archery is not something that comes easy. It comes with a lot of practice. Unlike buying, say, a bow off the shelf at a retail store with sights and pins and all the rest of that, where you just line everything up and you shoot, you can acquire that skill fairly quickly. Instinctive archery, however, that skill comes with a lot of time and practice, and as I explain this, you'll understand why. So let's get down to the brass tacks. First off, any good archery is based on good solid form, okay? Now, what happens with instinctive archery from my perspective, my understanding of psychology and the way the human mind thinks, is this. If we are exercising good and proper form, and I'm very big on the concept of follow through, because Gray Archer, in one of his videos, he actually refers to it as calling the shot. And basically what he's saying there in my book is he's saying when I take a shot, I take a mental snapshot of my actually making that shot. And that mental snapshot really can only happen as a result of good solid follow through also, because when I shoot that arrow and I've got my good solid follow through, I'm taking that mental snapshot. So here's what happens and here's how it works, in my opinion, with instinctive archery. Every time we shoot, if we're shooting good and proper form, we take a mental snapshot. Now, that shot either results in a good shot or a bad shot. So we now have a mental snapshot stored in our brains of a good shot or a bad shot. Now, the human mind is very good at, over time, putting away the bad things. A lot of the hurts and disappointments and things that we deal with in life, we're able to put away. The good things, however, the human mind is very good in holding on to. And so that's why we have all these good memories of Christmas or whatever that we hold on to for the rest of our lives. And so it works with instinctive archery. So the more I shoot, the more shots I make. I'm bound to sooner or later make a really good shot and hit that quarter-sized piece at 20 yards or whatever. My brain takes that mental snapshot. I keep going. I keep going. And over a period of a long time of practice, all these mental snapshots of the shots that went awry kind of go away. Now hopefully we self-analyze and we learn from all those, but that mental snapshot goes away because it's a bad memory we don't want to keep. But when we make those good shots and we're so elated, hey, I hit it, that mental snapshot tends to stay with us for a longer period of time. So what I believe I get over a lengthy period of time of practicing instinctive archery is I get this memory bank of snapshots of that really good shot that I made instinctively, okay? Because we're not shooting with sights and whatever. It's just a mental snapshot of my form, where everything was subconsciously. And so what happens is now I go out and I shoot, and subconsciously I come up and I am subconsciously recreating a mental picture from the past, and I release and I get my shot. So in a sense I'm aiming, but I'm doing it subconsciously based on sight pictures or mental snapshots from the past that I built up. And so that is why you will see a lot of you really good instinctive archers don't spend a lot of time at full draw, you know, at their anchor point. They come up and then boom, it's gone. They come up and boom, it's gone. Because as they come up, that mental picture, that snapshot is rebuilding, and once it's built, boom, it's gone. There's no point in hanging around any longer. Now granted, you'll see some of the guys, I mean, like Jeff Cavanaugh's awesome at shooting moving targets. He'll spend a little bit more time at draw, but then he's calculating the swing of two frickin' lit candles to where they'll just come together. I mean, he's got to take a little time to let that shot build before he lets it loose. But when it comes to just stationary targets, or maybe even a singular moving target, boom, it's quick. And over the course of time, we build these mental snapshots, and these mental snapshots have data attached with them subconsciously. They have data like the distance that that shot was made at, the wind effects, and so on and so forth. And so the more we shoot, the more data, the more possibilities and equations that we build in our mind. So we get better and better, and it's like, now I'm going to have to shoot at this target, and okay, it's a little bit declined elevation, but somewhere in my mind, maybe I've made shots like this before, and I've got those mental snapshots, so when I come up on it, I rebuild that shot, and it's gone, and I'm doing it. And I think that's really the crux of how the instinctive shooter instinctively aims his shot, because he's subconsciously recreating a previous successful shot that has been stored away in his mind. So that's kind of my insight onto that. And mind you, as I kind of alluded to before, you know, this all boils down to, you know, basics, having good form, good release, and all the rest of that. Because if your form is lousy, then you're not going to build those good mental pictures. And if your form is lousy somewhere down the road, then you're not going to have a good shot to match it up to, and you're going to be askew. You know, and to go one step further with this, as I began my progression down the instinctive shooting range, I unknowingly was doing all of this, and what I found out, and I guess what kind of brought me to this realization, if you will, was at some point in time I found out that if I made the mistake of trying to judge and or aim or whatever the shot, that's when it went askew and it went awry. When I came up on and it was right and I let it go, it happened, and it was so great. And I had to learn to have faith in myself, in my experience, and have faith in that concept of shooting instinctually. And with enough time, it came, and now it's one of those things where I don't even waste any time looking at my arrow or my string or, well, you know, whatever, because you just cut it loose. When it's right, you cut it loose. You know, and that's not to say that it makes us the most accurate pinhole shooters like you would if you had sights, but it definitely puts you there, and a lot of times puts you pretty dang accurate, and to the surprise of many around you sometimes. Anyhow, hopefully that gives you guys some additional insight into the reality of instinctual shooting, and for those of you who are doubtful because you didn't understand how it works, hopefully helped you out with that. Maybe you'll give it a second thought and try it, because I'm telling you what, when it works, and it does, it is a really great feeling, because it just all came together. It's not a matter of you had the right pins and the right tools and the right gadgets. It's about it all came together in your head and your body and made it happen. And it's almost